I know your wife, I think, wasn't Chrissy just there?
CHRISSIE and Melody. So
just a few days ago.
A few days before the war, before Putin.
We've just opened, we've opened another house at VATRA village in Moldova, and CHRISSIE had gone up to Ukraine, and there's a orphanage where 2 kids had been murdered by the staff, and they closed this orphanage down, and it is full of Ukrainian refugees from the war zone where the initial trouble started. And we bought them washing machines and dryers to save them having to hang the clothes outside the building in case someone recognized that they were hiding inside the building. And so we've been involved in this thing since the war broke out, originally 8 years ago. We've been in Moldova for 3 years, in Ukraine rather, for 3 years helping them. And so our kids in Ukraine, we are getting them out. One of our girls the other day, we try to put them to the villages away from the main towns because that's where the battle is. And what happened was that this little girl wouldn't go, and she went to the orphanage and found her brother and brought him back to our house. That's her right there. And so she was there, and we finally got on a bus to go to Moldova from Odessa, and we managed to get her mother that had to give them up because of poverty. So this morning, they were in VATRA village, safe. That's the 3 of them, the mom and the daughter and the son, are safe at VATRA village right now. And we've just heard in the last few minutes that another couple of kids, 2 of our girls, managed to come through the night last night, and NADIA went up to the border and got them. And that's a photograph of them all in one of our homes in VATRA village in Moldova, safe. So we're just working on getting other people out. And as I said, our van, we've got a 21-passenger van that you guys have driven in, and is running back and forth from the Ukrainian border, picking people up, driving all the way back to Romania and letting people off. Another one of our vehicles, our ministry has committed to buy $10,000 of groceries a day in order to feed all the refugees. Now, that photograph you're looking at right now is our van again on one of its runs, and all of those kids are foreign students or Ukrainian students that we're taking from there. If you look at the very back of the van, you'll see, I think it was from Kenya. And so we're taking these kids, running back and forth, the shuttle rescue service that we're running from the Ukrainian-Moldovan border all the way across Moldova to get to the Romanian border to release them. And once they're in Europe, of course, they're much more safe because NATO ends at Romania. Yeah. Moldova is not in NATO. It is not in Europe. Neither is Ukraine. Putin would never have attacked Ukraine if it had been part of NATO or if it had been part of the European Union. And so the reason why Moldova is at such risk is because they have no advocates. There is no one there that they can say, well, we'll hide under your covering. They are by themselves, a bankrupt little country of 3 million people. But what they are, Jim, is they are a terrifying poker chip in this deadly game he's playing. And he can invade Moldova with no cost. The subsequent negotiations are going to take place. He will use Moldova as a bargaining chip to get more concessions from the West. So we are living. Our kids are there. There's a picture of them praying. This is one of the most moving pictures. The night the war broke out, in our home in VATRA village. Look at that picture. Our kids had a prayer meeting, and that's them praying. And they can hear in VATRA village. They can hear the missiles and the bombs go off that's how close they are. They can hear the bombs go off in Ukraine. And we are having prayer vigils and asking God to keep our girls in Ukraine safe, and also to allow us to help this humanitarian nightmare that's unfolding on a daily basis.
80,000 have come across the border from Ukraine.
To Moldova.
To Moldova.
Just to Moldova.
Just to Moldova, 80,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's millions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God told me he cries over his people.
Yes.
Yes.
There's children, there's mothers, there's fathers, there's families. They're being just torn apart.
Yes.
The lineup of the tanks as they come in, they're tearing Ukraine apart. And they're killing innocent people.
They can say, how do we help? How can we reach out to be his hand extended? And I'm so grateful for you guys over the years that we've been together, that we have a partnership. You have given and have been such a miraculous part of the provision. And I just thank God for you and the partners that have been so faithful to care for those kids that are in our care, and now the people that our kids are caring
There's
for.
a picture.
That was
some of our family.
that was
I
me.
see Lori.
Pastor Lori was there, yeah.
There.
Oh my.
And the
And
girls.
that's in Moldova.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Lori, listen.
Life
The place you went to, if you recall, that picture right there is Nadia,
Yes.
to your left, our right. Nadia, that I rescued from a park bench in an orphanage, is now in charge of the work in Moldova. And that's Nadia.
She's amazing. That girl is an Esther right there. She is.
Well, that's Nadia. That's the same Nadia loading up her pickup truck in Moldova to go to the border and feed Ukrainians that have lost everything they have. And she is running right now 20 hours a day, going to the border, arranging for the purchase of food. We are buying $10,000 of food every single day. And that boy standing, the man standing holding the box, that's Andre. You guys helped rescue Andre.
Right.
And he is now a house parent. Well, he's now a house parent in VATRA village. And that's him buying food to feed this tidal wave, a tsunami. And that picture you're looking at right now is inside our newest house in VATRA village. And we are filling it with supplies. And I just heard a few minutes ago that we're buying 3 tons of diesel fuel to keep our vans running.
Oh my.
If there's shortages in the whole country, we now have 3 tons of fuel at VATRA Village that will allow us, when other people's cars stop, we'll be able to keep feeding and keep going and keep loving these people. And if it wasn't for folk like you, Jim Bakker and Lori Bakker, we would never, ever manage to be God's hand extended.
Now,
and I honor you for what you've done.
Here's something I want our people to know. Remember, Lori, when you went to buy groceries?
Philip will never forget that.
We had no money left in our ministry. And we were literally had no food. And I had no idea that when you came, you said to me, let's go and buy food for the kids. And you guys bought thousands upon thousands of dollars of food, which allowed us to keep our homes open. And here we are, years later, with Andre that you rescued with us all those years ago, now standing at the back of one of our vans at the exact same place where you brought that food from. And now we are continuing this miracle that you started all those years ago. So I just urge the viewers to pray and ask God to keep our kids safe, because they're on the front line of this battle. And the fact that you guys have been such a part with us over the years, I just know God's going to meet this need that we're facing right now. $10,000 every single day of food is what our challenge is. We've just had to buy yesterday. Andre went and bought a van. I said, Andre, you've got to go and get a van. Now, it's from Germany, and it still has the German sign writing on it. But that's been taken off, and in the next few hours, that van will be loaded with supplies, running back and forth to the border, feeding and caring for people. You are making miracles happen.
We're going to start out by pledging $10,000 for one day of food. And we're going to keep doing it as long as people will help me.
Wow.
And
this
so
is huge.
we're going to send that.
Thank you.
And do
so
everything we can, and whatever supplies, because then we can get supplies if we ever get to the point where we can ship things in to Moldova. Wow. Moldova is just tucked right up next to Ukraine.
Yep.
Yes, it's between Ukraine and Romania. Whoever wins Moldova wins the war between civilization and barbarism. And we are literally, and I want to thank you, Jim, for your kindness. You've always been the most generous person I've ever met. And I know there are folk watching just now, and you're thinking, well, and you've watched with helplessness. You're thinking, what can I do? How can I help? You help Jim Bakker. Send us the funds. We have a banking system here in America, and the credit cards are in Moldova, the cards to buy the food. So when money is sent to us, it goes into this account, and NADIA and the guys in Moldova can go straight away and buy the food necessary to get it to where the people are. And don't sit back and curse the darkness. Light a candle in the darkness,
Amen.
and God will honor you for it.
Amen.